My sister told me to skip my job interview to take her son to baseball. When I refused, she mocked me about being single. My parents laughed, so I reminded them why I've been covering their rent. Until today, you know, there are some laughs that don't mean joy. They mean contempt. And for years, my family's quiet chuckles, especially my parents when my sister used my lack of a family against me, felt like a slow, painful gut punch. But then came one Thursday night, and that punch finally landed, shattering everything. Look, my name's Caleb. I'm 33, and I've always been the oldest, the default babysitter, the one who just knows where the spare keys are and how to fix a clogged sink without making it a crisis. I'm a chef, not the TV fancy kind, but real kitchen, double shifts, burns on both forearms like little white flags. People think chefs party at 2 a.m. Most nights, I'm just washing prep tubs, doing mental math about food costs, and trying to figure out how to pay rent. I learned early on to keep my knives sharp and my feelings dull. It was just easier that way. In my family, I was always the steady one. Translation? The guy who never said no. I moved couches, changed tires, answered every text that started with "quick favor." I tracked birthdays, brought casseroles, and swear to God, I knew exactly how many spoons were left at my parents' place because spoons disappear faster than money in that house. Then there's my sister, Bree. She's 2 years younger, and she's been golden since birth. I mean, she's the kind of person who can miss a payment and still charm the landlord into forgetting it. She has a son, Tyler. He's 10, obsessed with baseball and YouTube. My parents? They loved Bree and Tyler loudly, you know? With big declarations and public praise. Me? They loved me quietly. With chores. With assumptions. So, this particular Thursday night, I pulled into my parents' driveway. I was exhausted. My shift smelled like garlic, butter, and a fire alarm that just wouldn't quit. The next morning, I had an interview for a sous chef position at a new hotel. This was huge, a real step up, better hours, actual health insurance that didn't feel like a prank. I was ready. I set my alarm for 6:30, ironed my only white shirt, and headed inside. I had Mom's requested simple roasted chicken and a tub of stock for Dad's soup. Bree was sprawled on the couch, scrolling on her phone, as usual. My parents were at the dining table, playing cards, like the whole house just ran on nostalgia and denial. "Hey," I said, trying to be normal. "Chicken's on the counter. Don't forget to refrigerate it." Bree didn't even look up. "Perfect timing," she said, her voice flat. "So, you'll cancel your interview and take Tyler to his baseball game tomorrow." I actually laughed. I thought it was a joke, you know? "No," I told her, shaking my head. "I can't. This is a big deal." She just smirked. "Oh, so it's like important. Where's your wife and kids, Caleb?" "Oh, right. You don't have any. Must be nice to be so available." And that's when my parents chuckled. Not a big, boisterous laugh. No, it was that small, mean family laugh. The one that says, "We agree with the subtext, Caleb. We know your place." My ears started to burn. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice even. "I'm not canceling," I insisted. Bree rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might get stuck. "Fine," she snapped. "I'll just tell Tyler his uncle thinks work matters more than family." Mom let out a long, theatrical sigh, like a stage cue. Dad slammed his cards down a little too loudly. The whole room suddenly felt like it was tilting, all eyes on me, waiting for the usual capitulation. But I didn't give it. Not that night. I just said, "I'll text you after my interview." I put the lid on the stock, and I walked out of my parents' house with garlic still on my hands, and that bitter laugh caught in my throat like a bone I couldn't swallow. It's funny how you become the family driver, the loan officer, the personal chef. It wasn't an overnight thing. It happened the way kitchens get dirty, one small spill at a time until the floor is sticky and you're practically skating on it. We grew up in a tiny 2-bedroom with a small yard. Dad called our grill the Beast. Mom ran a daycare out of the house. Dad drove a delivery truck. We were fine, not great. The lights stayed on. The fridge was full if you liked leftovers and coupons. Birthdays meant one present and a store cake. If the present was big, the cake was smaller. That's how you balance books when you don't even call it balancing books. I learned early that food makes people quiet. If Dad came home snapping, I could put a plate in front of him and just feel the room soften. I learned to stretch chicken thighs with beans and rice. My job, I realized, was to cover the gaps, the broken latch, The forgotten permission slip, the awkward silence after Mom said Bree was special. By high school, the roles were practically official. I worked nights at a diner, smelling of onions and fryer oil. Bree? She did theater, took photos where she looked effortlessly perfect. I'd come home at 1 a.m. to a note. Caleb, can you take Bree to school at 7? Love, Mom. And of course I did. I got into culinary school on a scholarship, covered tuition, not knives, not shoes, not commuting. So I washed dishes at night, just to afford a decent knife roll. Bree tried community college, hated it, dropped out for mental health reasons, and somehow, no one insisted she finish. She just kind of floated between part-time jobs and creative projects. Then Tyler was born. And suddenly, everyone pivoted. Family first, Dad would say, which, for me, always translated to, Caleb, do more. I was 25, staging, that's free labor, basically, at a decent restaurant, while working a mediocre one just to pay rent. Bree moved back in with our parents. It's just until I find something stable, she'd say. Mom would add, you understand, like it was both a blessing and an insult. And I stepped up. Of course I did. Formula is expensive. Diapers? Double that. I started dropping off groceries on Sundays because, hell, I was already batch cooking for myself. What was one more pan of lasagna? I covered their internet when it got shut off. I paid Dad's copay when he forgot his wallet. I bought Bree a used stroller, then a crib, then a car seat because hers was expired. She said it like milk, like planning ahead wasn't her job. When I finally got my first real promotion, from line cook to junior sous, I told no one. I just bought myself better clogs and paid off a credit card. Upgraded my phone because the old one died a heroic death in a stock pot. I didn't celebrate. Celebrating felt like tempting fate, or worse, inviting criticism. Must be nice, Mom would say, whenever I had something new. The rent situation with Bree started as an emergency. Her name was on a lease with a boyfriend who left. Just short this month, she'd text. I sent $850, then $400, then $100 until Friday. The numbers just blurred. She'd text, I'll pay you back when my photography takes off. I'd ask what takes off meant. She'd leave me on read. Then Mom called. Bree and Tyler are moving in for a while, she said. The apartment is just too much. How long is a while? I remember asking. Don't be cold, she'd retort. The house filled with kid noise again. And Tyler's laughter, damn it, made it hard to be truly mad. He'd call me chef, ask if garlic was a vegetable. We made dinosaur-shaped pancakes. I taught him to crack eggs with 2 hands. I watched Bree scroll while I packed his lunch. I'm doing it for him, I told myself. Always for him. A pattern set in. I'd get a quick favor text from Bree at 3 p.m. about a 4:30 pickup. Can you run Tyler to practice? I'm editing. Or can you swing by Target? He needs cleats. Or from my parents. We're out of paper towels. Dad's cell bill is weird again. The microwave quit. None of it catastrophic, you know, but all of it cumulative. I tried to draw small lines. I can't do weekday pickups, I'm on the line. Give me receipts. Please ask me, don't assume. But those lines would blur. Tyler's face would crumple because practice would be missed. Or Mom would sigh, heavy with implication. You know, we can't do it without you. I watched my bank app more than I watched TV. I tracked everything in notes. $42.18 for cleats, $75 for a clinic, $285 for their electric because the AC ran a little high. 100 here, 300 there. I'll scale back next month, I'd tell myself. But next month always arrived with new holes. Meanwhile, my own career kept inching forward. I helped open a bistro as a lead. The chef there? He taught me more about salt than any culinary school ever did. And he taught me about boundaries. He was blunt. You show up early for everyone, he'd say. Show up early for yourself once in a while. He pushed me to apply for that hotel gig. You have the palate and the head for it, Caleb. Stop waiting for permission. The week of the interview, I tried to set the table with my family. I told them it mattered. It's a real shot, I said at Sunday dinner. Better pay, a team I want. I'll be less available that morning. Bree just twirled her spaghetti. You'll be fine, she said dismissively. You always are. Dad clinked his fork. Don't forget where you came from, he warned, which sounds like pride, but in our house, it really means stay in your place. Mom asked if the hotel had good leftovers and if I could bring some by. Tyler, bless his heart, asked if I could come to his next game. Yes, I told him, just not this Friday morning. So yeah, Bree sent that cancel your interview text on Thursday. My parents chuckled. My ears burned. That was the first big crack. The rest of it? It was already split underneath, just waiting to shatter. The blow-up? Oh, it landed 2 days later, at my parents' place. It was supposed to be just cake for Tyler's big game. Instead, it turned into a full-blown tribunal. My interview, by the way, it actually went well. I wore a suit jacket from a thrift store, that one white shirt, and had a clean apron folded in my bag, like a promise I was making to myself. We talked menu philosophy, labor costs. I didn't babble. I didn't apologize for wanting it. When I got back in my car, though, my phone blew up. 14 texts from Bree. Asterisk, did you seriously ignore me? Tyler cried. Mom had to call Aunt Layla to drive. You're selfish. Asterisk, I didn't answer. I just drove to my parents' house for the cake thing, because apparently, some part of me still believed that showing up could fix the tone. I walked into the kitchen. Frosting was sweating under plastic wrap. Bree stood there, arms crossed, simmering. Mom's mouth was a thin, tight line. Dad held a knife, a big carving knife, like a damn gavel. Apologize to your nephew, Mom said, completely skipping any sort of hello. For what? I asked, completely bewildered. For choosing work over family. Bree snapped, her voice cracking with manufactured outrage. For leaving us in a bind. I told you a week ago I couldn't take him. I shot back, my voice rising despite myself. You turned it into a dare. Dad slammed the knife onto the cutting board. Bang. We don't escalate over these little things, Caleb. It's not little, I said, pointing a finger. You asked me to cancel a job interview because you keep planning on my time like it's yours. Bree let out that familiar, taunting laugh. Where's your wife and kids, Caleb? Oh, right. You don't have any. This is the family you've got. There it was again. That line. The cheap shot. My parents' eyes flicked to me, waiting for my usual swallow and smile. But this time, my chest went hot, then cold. In that split second, I saw every just this once, every quick favor, every Venmo note that said TYLR like a tip. I saw years of being taken for granted. And it finally broke. I put both hands flat on the counter. No, I said. My voice was surprisingly calm. Excuse me. Mom snapped. No. I repeated, my voice now steady, firm. I'm not apologizing. I'm not canceling things for you anymore. And I'm not pretending this is normal. Bree rolled her eyes. So this is revenge. This isn't about revenge, I said, and I felt my voice truly steady now. This is about closure. Silence. Even Tyler, out in the living room, paused his YouTube video. I took out my phone, not to read anything, but just to look at the notes I'd kept. Dates. Amounts. Times I'd driven an hour each way for a 5-minute pickup. It wasn't for show. It was to remind myself I wasn't imagining it. I've been paying your rent for 6 months, I told Bree, watching her jaw twitch. I've covered Mom and Dad's utilities 3 times this year. I bought the groceries in your fridge right now. I looked at them all. Every time I said I couldn't, you made it personal. Every time I asked for planning, you called me selfish. Dad frowned, trying to twist it. You think money makes you better? I think money has been the leash you tug. I countered, looking him straight in the eye. And I've been the one wearing it. Bree pointed at me, her face red. Say that in front of Tyler. Say you don't care about family. I looked at my nephew. He stared back, the way kids do when adults pretend they aren't listening. I care. I told him, my voice soft but clear. I care enough to stop lying about what's fair. Mom's voice suddenly turned saccharine, soft like the edge of a knife wrapped in a towel. Sweetheart, you've always been particular. Don't be cruel. I'm not being cruel, I said. I'm being clear. Bree crossed her arms tighter. Then be clear, she challenged. What do you want? I want you to stop treating my time and money like a public utility, I told her, my gaze sweeping across all 3 of them. I want you to plan Tyler's rides before the night of. I want you to pay your own rent, or downsize. I want Mom and Dad to ask me for help instead of assigning it. And if you can't do that, I want distance. Dad snorted. So you're kicking your family out of your life. I'm putting a door on a house that's had none. I shot back. You can knock. I'll decide if I can open it. Bree scoffed. Pathetic. Maybe, I said, picking up my keys. But it's mine. My hands were steady. My voice was low. There was a version of me that would have softened it with a joke, with some kind of peace offering. That version of me. He'd kept us stuck for years. I walked to the door. Tyler, small in the hallway, asked, "Are you still coming to my Saturday game?" "Yes," I said. "I told you I would. I keep promises. I just won't keep secrets about how much they cost me." I left to the sound of Mom exhaling like a prayer she didn't believe in. I got in my car. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I just sat there and watched the porch light buzz in the daylight, and I understood something profound. The breaking point wasn't loud. It was precise. Families don't collapse, you know? They reorganize around the person who finally stops performing. The next morning, my phone became a slot machine of dread. 22 texts from Mom in 3 hours. 10 missed calls from Bree. 4 from Dad. On a new number, of course, because he loves a fresh number when bills pile up. Aunt Layla chimed in. "Blood is forever." My cousin wrote, "Heard you're too good for us now." The quotes around "too good" did all the heavy lifting. I turned on Do Not Disturb, and, honestly, just want to make stock. Bree texted, *rinse. You doing it or not? No question mark. Just that hard period. The kind people use when they think they own your answer. I typed a reply. Deleted it. Typed again. I settled on. Not. She sent 8 messages in a row. Wow. So, you're really abandoning your nephew. I'll remember this when you're old and alone. Classic hits. I responded once. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm ending a pattern. Then I put my phone in a drawer and started breaking down carrots. The hotel called that afternoon. I got the job. The chef said, "We like how you think about systems." I just said, "Thank you," and kept my voice calm, because joy felt like this fragile thing I didn't want to drop. I texted my friend Louise from the bistro. He sent a string of fire emojis, which felt exactly right. Later, I told my parents in a short message, I got the job. No hearts, no exclamation points. Just space for them to be normal. They were not normal. Mom, congrats. Don't forget Sunday is Tyler's tournament, and we'll need you to grill. Me. Can't. Working. Mom. Always working. Me? Yes, Dad. So, when are you coming by to fix the leaky sink? Me. I'm not. Call a plumber. Dad. Waste of money. Me. It's your sink. Silence for 2 hours. Then Bree. Landlord says we have to be current by Friday, or he files. You want that on your conscience? Me. I can help you draft a budget and find a cheaper place. Bree. So, no. Me. So, plan. The next day, Mom pivoted to kindness as a tactic. Made your favorite lemon bars, she texted. A photo followed. They looked perfect, she added. Come by tonight. I stared at that photo the way you stare at the past. I typed, thanks. I'll pick them up after work. I went at 9 p.m. when I knew no one would be awake. I took the lemon bars from the porch like a thief and left a note. These are great. It wasn't unkind. It was just how I could do it. The first real test came Saturday at Tyler's game. I showed up with a camp chair and a bag of orange slices. My brain runs on autopilot for sports, you know? Bree saw me and lifted her chin like she was smelling a lie. Mom whispered to a friend. Dad pretended I was air. But Tyler? He ran over, eyes wide. You came. I said I would, I told him. How's your swing? Better, he beamed. Coach says I dropped my shoulder. Keep your eye on the ball, I said, which is basic, but also the only thing I've ever known to be undeniably true about anything. He got a hit. A real one, not a charity walk. He looked at me first, not his mother, and my throat did a thing I did not authorize. After the game, Bree cornered me near the bleachers. So, rent, she said, like we were just picking up yesterday's conversation after a bathroom break. So, budget, I countered. She scowled. I can't move Tyler. His school. Then find cheaper within the district, I interrupted. Or get a roommate. Or take on a shift that isn't just editing at a coffee shop. You think you're better? She snapped, that familiar venom rising. I think I'm done, I said. She stepped closer. I'll tell Tyler you don't care. Tell him the truth, I said. Tell him I love him. Tell him his mom and I disagree about adult choices. She blinked. And in that moment, I realized no one had ever modeled a version of love for her that didn't mean surrender. That week, I opened a separate checking account and nicknamed it Boundaries. I moved most of my savings out of reach of quick Venmos. I turned off notifications from the family group chat. I told my new chef I needed Sundays off for the next month to reset my life. He just nodded. Good, he said. Use them. On the second Sunday, I sat at my tiny table and wrote down every recurring expense I'd ever absorbed. Bree's phone line. Dad's streaming passwords that were still billing to me, for some reason. Tyler's sports registrations I'd fronted. I canceled what I could. I sent 3 blunt texts. To Dad. Asterisk Disney Plus is on my card. Canceling end of month. You can start your own. Asterisk to Mom. Asterisk please stop putting my number on forms as the emergency for bills. Use yours. Asterisk to Bree. Asterisk I won't be available for weekday rides. If you can't find someone, call the league. Many parents carpool. Asterisk the replies came fast and dramatically. Dad. Ungrateful. Mom. You're breaking my heart. Bree. Hope your fancy chef friends can come to your funeral when no one shows up. I muted them all. 2 weeks into the new job, I met with HR and set my beneficiaries, a thing I'd put off forever. I listed a charity I care about, my friend Louise, and a note that said, if Tyler is over 18 and in school, he can apply for a one-time grant. It was private. It was mine. It was a way to love a kid without funding an adult's choices forever. There were cracks in the storm, though. Small ones. One was a voicemail from Dad at 11:43 p.m. Sinks fixed, he grumbled. Plumber cost $180. Robbery. Then, a smaller voice. Worked fast, though. He hung up before the thank you could sneak out. Another crack. Bree texted me a photo of Tyler doing homework. He asked how to multiply. She wrote. We watched a video. No ask, no jab. Just a report from a different planet where we shared information instead of invoices. I noticed the house I rent got quieter, too. Not just because there were fewer calls, but because my brain stopped rehearsing arguments in the shower. I cooked for myself without making extra to drop off. I tried a dish, charred cabbage with anchovy butter, that nobody in my family would touch. I plated it like a restaurant dish and sat at my own table, eating it while it was hot. On the first of the month, Bree didn't text at 8 a.m. She texted at 8 p.m. Asterisk made rent. Wasn't easy. Asterisk I typed, proud of you, and I meant it. She didn't reply. That was okay. The quiet didn't mean nothing hurt. It meant the hurts finally had names. When Mom posted a Facebook photo of Tyler with a caption that said, it takes a village, and tagged everyone except me, I just closed the app and did the dishes. When Aunt Layla wrote in the family chat, Caleb thinks he's better, I didn't defend myself with my ledger. I let other people think whatever made their lives feel meaningful. 3 weeks after the breaking point, I met Bree for coffee. She asked, and I said I would try if she asked without demanding. We sat at a little table by the window. She looked tired. Not performative tired. Real tired. I found a cheaper place, she said, picking at the lid of her latte. It's smaller. Tyler has the bedroom. I'll do the couch for now. It's in the same school zone. That's good, I said. How's he taking it? He likes that the park is closer, she replied. He told me to ask you if you could still come to his Saturday games sometimes. I can, I said. I like watching him try. She chewed her lip. I was mean, she said. About the wife and kids. Yeah, I said. You were. I'm sorry, she said. Not dramatic. Not weaponized. Just words, put in the right order. Thanks, I said. I'm not changing the boundary. I know, she said. We sat. We watched a dog try to catch a leaf through the glass like it was the most important thing in the world. We didn't solve us. But we made a dent in something heavy. I didn't become a different person. I became the same person, but with proof I could say no and survive it. The hotel kitchen is bright and loud in a different way than the bistros and bars where I learned to hustle. We have systems. We label. We don't wing it, because winging it makes poor people cry on the first of the month. I run family meal at 4 p.m., feeding the crew pasta and salad, and sometimes chicken thighs, because I can't quit chicken thighs. Someone always says, this is the best thing I'll eat all day. And I believe them. And it matters. I set alarms for things that are about me. I booked that dentist appointment I'd rescheduled 4 times. I bought a new pan with a handle that won't blister me. I got a mattress that doesn't feel like a collapsed soul. Tiny luxuries. No apology attached. Sundays, I walk to the farmer's market and buy too many lemons. I text Louise photos of ugly tomatoes like they're pets. Sometimes, I see a family doing the full movie version, matching outfits, stroller, laughter, and my chest tightens. I used to think that meant I'd failed. Now I think it means I'm human. Bree and I aren't best friends. We're not enemies. We're people who share a childhood and a kid we both love. She sends me Tyler's schedule on Mondays now, instead of hours before the game. I circle 2 dates a month and write TYLR in my notebook, like a reservation I'll actually keep. When I can't make it, I say so on Tuesday, not Friday at 5. Mom still sends Barb texts sometimes. Haven't seen you in a while, she writes. Hope the hotel is worth it. I reply, asterisk it is. Hope you're well. Asterisk dad calls once every 2 weeks to ask, you still working there? Like a test I keep passing. He told me last week the sink hasn't leaked since the plumber came. He said it with grudging respect, like the pipe betrayed him by doing its job. Tyler called me on his own last Friday. We made stir fry, he said, his voice bright. I cut carrots like you showed me. That's awesome, I said. Did you keep your fingers tucked? Claw hand, he said proudly. Mom says I can use the small knife, not the big ones yet. Smart mom, I said, a small smile touching my lips. He paused. Are you mad at us? No, I told him. I was mad. Now I'm done being used. Oh, he said, like he'd found a new word. I still hear Bree's old line in my head sometimes. Where's your wife and kids? And you know what? It stings less every time. My life isn't a waiting room for someone else's approval. It's a kitchen I get to run. The last thing I did for me was tape a card by my door, right at eye level. Black marker. Simple. Respect is the price of admission. I read it before I leave. I read it when I come home. It applies to everyone, including me. So, here's what I want to say for anyone who understands the math of being useful until you disappear. Saying no picked a fight I'd been losing by default. It didn't make me cold. It made me honest. It didn't end love. It ended access. This isn't about revenge, I told them. This is about closure. And what I really meant was, asterisk, I'm closing the tab you've kept open on my life. You can open your own. Asterisk when I think about that Thursday, the interview, that mean laugh, the order disguised as a favor, I don't picture the look on Bree's face. I picture mine in the car window, tired, yes, but steady. Not cruel, just clear. I still bring soup sometimes when Dad is sick. I still slice extra cake on birthdays. I still cheer too loudly when Tyler hits the ball. But I don't cancel a job interview for a ride that could have been arranged with a calendar and 2 texts. From now on, we plan, or we don't. We ask, or we don't. We respect, or we don't. I love them either way. I just love myself enough to stop paying for everyone else's emergencies with my future. That's my door. That's my boundary. And for the first time, it feels like it's finally, truly mine.